Well, hey everybody, welcome to Design in the Dark. What's up? Hello. Oh, we're having some. Oh, things are exploding. Hold on. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. Simone, can you turn down any volume that you have on anywhere? Oh, you know what? Is this my fault? This is probably my fault, actually. Hold on. Sorry, everybody, we're having some technical difficulties. All right, I think we got it. I think we're here. I think we got it, and let's go ahead and get started. Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome to the Side of the Dark. Oh man, it was a real fall down the stairs moment for a second. And hello, hi. Let's go ahead and intro you and let everyone know. Who is this person next to us floating?
Hey y'all.
What's up? Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell everyone a little bit about you, what you do, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm Cymone Wilder. You might know me as Simon and Moose on Instagram and all the other social channels, but I am primarily a lettering artist and brand designer based out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes, and some absolutely incredible, amazing work. I believe that we met at CanceledCon, which was
Yep.
another online event, and I remember looking through your work and just being so into the vibe, specifically because of the way that you took a lot of your work and brought it out of the digital, like into the physical. Is that something that you do a lot with your work?
I try to do it as often as possible. That's kind of like my thing. I feel like you can engage a little bit more, a little bit better with the work when it's this physical, tangible thing that you can either touch or stand in front of or anything like that.
Yes, I totally agree. It feels like something that you can see it digitally, but like feel it tactile somehow if you've taken that extra step. Totally agree. And if you guys want to follow along Instagram, just Simon and Moose on Instagram, as well as on Behance, and as well as I believe simonandmoose.com. That's it. It is.
Yep.
So welcome to the show, Simone. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, I want to tell you a little bit about what Design in the Dark is before we get started. So our friend here, Simone, is going to be hanging out and doing a piece of lettering today, but she is going to be creating based on a prompt that you will fill in chat. So get those fingers ready, get all stretched out, get ready to type some things because we will need some suggestions from you. All right, Simone, I'm going to go ahead and flip over to your screen today. We're working on iPad, and what program are we in today?
I'm going to use Fresco today.
That's right. So we're going to be hanging out in Fresco pretty much the whole day, and we are going to be filling some things in from UChat. So let me go ahead and read the brief, and I'll put it up on the screen there. We'll read all the way through, and then I'll ask for your suggestions to start plugging things in for Design in the Dark. So the magazine, so here we go. Sorry, I'll read it this way. The magazine name is an independent publication that is a leading voice in the topic space. For their number issue, we are running a story about topic with the headline. They are in need of a lettering piece that should be adjective and adjective in style. The magazine name has adjective articles and illustrations that are instantly recognizable because of their signature colors, color and color. So let's start this. First of all, what I need from you chat so that Simone can get started is we need to know a topic of the story and maybe a headline for this story. So go ahead and drop that in chat. There is a little bit of a delay, Simone, so we will have some delay here. And with that, let's just talk a little bit about you. Where are you in the world?
I mean, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now. I'm in my office right now, and yeah, I'm ready to do this thing.
Do you find that being in Nashville is inspiring just from like the city? Because I feel like it's so full of life and culture there.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It feels like the biggest small town you can live in.
Yes.
It's like half city, half small town vibes, and I really dig that because every neighborhood is so unique and so different, and a lot of good inspiration, a lot of good old vibes, a lot of good new vibes.
Yep, absolutely. So, chat, we need a topic for this story, and then we need a headline for the story. Let's see, some suggestions coming in. New Groove for the magazine title. I actually really like that. Let's call the magazine New Groove, but we still need the topic, chat. New Groove is going to be the title. Go ahead and drop the topics in there as you go. It usually gets a little bit of a vibe to get going. All right, I actually love that. All right, so Jennifer Hood says the topic is going to be fake nails. So the topic is going to be a story about fake nails.
Love it.
Sounds good to me. So we got fake nails, and what will the headline be for this article? Anybody, go ahead and drop that in there. So, Cymone, our topic is going to be a story about fake nails. Today we're working not necessarily on an illustration like we usually do. We're doing some lettering, right?
Yep.
And for you, what is the beginning of this process, right? That you get a brief from someone and they're like, hey, we need a piece about fake nails. What is happening in your brain right now?
I feel like I'm trying to imagine what the style would be for fake nails or a vibe surrounding fake nails. And then I'm going to kind of just start sketching whatever the headline is and see what happens, I guess. Start carving out of stone.
Sweet. So, a suggestion for the headline. All right, so I'm going to tweak this one a little bit. Misty made the suggestion, the best new back scratchers. It's funny, we were talking before this and we were talking about how spicy chat gets and how it usually takes a little while for us to work up there, and y'all jumped in like right away with the spiciness. Usually it's pretty standard as we get started, and then the suggestions get more and more crazy. Y'all just went all in. So the best new back scratchers. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and update the brief, and it is going to be an article in the magazine New Groove about fake nails and how they are the best new back scratchers.
Love it.
All right, in chat, you are going to see the brief pop up on your screen. I will update it as we go if you want to kind of track along and see what's coming next. We will definitely have more suggestions coming on, including colors, including maybe some adjectives as we keep going. And you know what? Maybe some adjectives would be helpful in the process here. Chat, totally. What would be some adjectives that would describe this? So they're in need of a lettering piece that would be adjective and adjective in style. Any stylistic preferences or choices for you? Oh, that's interesting. How to care for your nails with all the hand sanitizer you're using. Yes. At this point, I think my hands are consuming more alcohol than my body is. All right, so usually when you're working on a lettering piece, do you just hop in? Are you sketching rough? Are you thinking like, okay, these forms might exist? What's the process of getting started and kind of working your way into it?
I mean, I think I mostly just kind of dive in and start drawing. Like, I don't even use layers half the time. I just like draw over whatever my rough sketch looks like and just kind of let it guide, I guess. There's not like a super solid, I don't know, like formula. It just depends on what the piece is and how it drives.
Yeah, and I feel like it's happened a lot of times on this show that we talk about it's wrong until it's right. That like you have to make it just like wrong, and then eventually you're like, oh, I think it's right now.
Yeah.
All totally. Right. Eva Winters says sharp and bright. I love that. So adjectives,
okay.
Sharp and bright will be the adjectives, and I think that is the core things that we will need to get started and get moving here. So thank you, chat, for your suggestions. As always, if you have any art direction, you think something is wrong, you have an idea for something, go ahead and give it to us. We love the collaboration here on Design in the Dark. And yes, I agree. Jen Hood says the consistency of this sketch is impeccable. I agree. This is something that I would like present as a final thing. Whenever I do hand lettering stuff, it looks like I've done it with my toes somehow. It's just an absolute hot mess. And with this, you're using Apple Pencil, I believe, with this, right?
Yep.
Cool. And this is mostly just kind of mapping out almost like a positive negative space, right?
Yeah, totally.
to map out what's balance and stuff, especially when doing lettering pieces. It can become very weighted to one side or the other, by just having like letters or words. And so adding stuff like these little accents and pop outs are really helpful to keep it balanced and create like an art piece instead of just like it's letters.
Yeah.
Great question from Darylyn. Where would you suggest beginning when introducing yourself to lettering? I guess that's kind of a, how did maybe you learn? What would you suggest to other people?
I would say like walk around your city and see what you're into, like what you gravitate towards in like signage and other things. But other than that, I would find someone you really admire, whose work you really admire, and start to kind of practice and mass copy per se.
Yep. Do you have any of those people that you start out that you're like, oh my gosh, these are my lettering heroes?
My like very first person was probably Eric Marinovic, and then of course Jessica Heish as well. I don't know, I probably just butchered both of their names, but they were kind of my all-stars getting started.
Yes, I'm looking at Eric's work. It didn't sound familiar to me, but now that I see it, it is very familiar.
Yeah.
And that is such a great way to learn, is to basically find something that you love and figure out how they did it. Like try to replicate it exactly, and not in a way of copying them, but being like, oh, I can figure out exactly how they did this, so I can use those techniques in my own work.
Yep.
Holy crap, this work by Eric is amazing. I'm just going to toss it up on the screen for you, chat, if you want to check it out as well. And yes, Amy said Eric is everyone's lettering crush. I think I agree now. I think I've officially caught feelings looking at this site. And yes, chat, if you have any questions for our friend Cymone, drop them in chat. This is a super chill stream. So unlike Daily Challenge or some of the other streams, we hang out here, we vibe, we have fun, and it's all about the collaboration between you and us. Eric walked so that we all could run. Agreed. When you're drawing, so right now it looks like you're just using kind of a consistent line weights, drawing it out, kind of having the sketch. Are you thinking in your brain if you're just, going to do differences in line weight, if there's a certain style of letter? Is that something that's happening in your brain now, or are you just mapping out here where the forms are going to go?
I usually definitely start with the forms and getting them in the right place, and then kind of once I'm at this point, I'll start to make sure that the layout and the lockup kind of is working.
Yep.
And then after that, I kind of just start to like fill in what I think will work for kind of the line weight and all of that stuff.
Yep. And it's something that, again, especially working digitally, right? It's something that you can do unlimited iterations. You can move things, change things. You can make a bunch of copies. Did you work analog like before going digital? Did you start digital? What was your kind of lettering journey?
I was definitely very anti-digital for a very long time.
Really?
I felt very passionate and strong about using paper and pencil. And I think that was really just because I was too poor to get an iPad and I was jealous of everybody who had one. But then I got an iPad and I don't think I'll ever use paper or pencil ever again.
That's so funny. It's like the equivalent, and I do the same thing with like Netflix shows where everyone's like, you have to try this, and I'm like, no, I'll never do it, and then I'm like, dang it, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I was the same way with iPad, that I was so against it, and we were talking about this before. I still am not fully on board, but it's not because I don't like the medium. It's just because I don't think that I'm like super skilled in illustration. But there is something surprising when I started working in it, and I'm like, oh shoot, this feels better than paper somehow. Like there's something magical about being able to work on a screen but have it feel like it's analog.
Yeah, totally.
And yes, Nikki, it looks like we are mixing some cursive and some non-cursive Latin alphabet. What do we call non-cursive letters? I've never.
I don't know.
I've never done it in the opposite. I've only had like letters and then cursive. I've never done it the opposite of like cursive and blank. I have no idea what that is. Did you, do you, this is just a general question, and this is a question for chat too. Do you use cursive lettering anywhere else other than doing lettering pieces? Yeah,
Now, as you can see, like in the top corner, that's my garbage lettering, unfortunately. And I can draw letters really well, but I can't write really well.
yes. Print is what it's called. Okay, cool. Thank you, chat. So print and cursive.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like they spent way too much time in school, like teaching us how to do cursive for the amount of time that we actually use it.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's super helpful to understand like the letter forms and all that on a basic level.
That's very true. And yes, the best new back scratchers. That is what we have made our brief today. And for those of you that are just joining us, hi, hello. A good smattering of people just showed up, so thanks for coming in and hanging out. This is Design in the Dark. We are doing a lettering piece today with our friend Cymone, and we have a brief that is for a magazine called The New Groove. It's an independent publication that is a leading voice in the blank topic space. And right now we're working on a lettering piece that is for a story about fake nails with the headline, The Best New Back Scratchers. We're working in something that is sharp and bright, and then we will fill in some of the other things coming up in a little while. So chat, we're going to be getting things from you like colors. We're going to do a little bit of a topic, get a little more story around it. So stay tuned. Keep participating, drop those suggestions in chat, and as always, if you have questions or any suggestions, drop them in chat. I am sitting here constantly watching, keeping an eye on all of you in chat, all 150 some of you. So go ahead and drop whatever you want in chat, and we'll talk about it. And yes, I agree. It's crazy how fast you put this together. Is this something that this is kind of a comfort zone for you, the like cursive lettering mixed with kind of the stacked, or is this something you're like, all right, we're just trying it and vibing it out as we go?
I think I definitely lean into this mix a little bit. I'm a big fan of like sign paintery style stuff, and so mixing the two is very much something I really enjoy.
Have you gotten to do like actual murals or any like paint on subject kind of pieces?
I actually this summer finished up a mural on a 170-foot wall here in Nashville, and that was like a dream come true, but it was definitely a monster project.
Yep. That's one of those, like, you're excited when you sign the contract, and then you get there and you're like, oh, okay, this is a real thing that we're gonna do.
This is something. This is big.
And speaking of, this just reminded me, speaking of kind of that sign painterly style, do you know, oh gosh, what's his name? Jeff Rogers?
Yeah, I feel like when I was doing that mural, I was like, I'm Jeff Rogers.
Yes.
I got this.
Yes, I agree. Anytime I see or do anything in that style, I'm like, ooh, I'm Jeff Rogers. Yeah, Jeff Rogers. And if you guys want to follow along, he's just Froggers on Instagram. Really great inspiration for type. And again, I'm just going to keep showing you awesome lettering artists because that's what this is all about, being inspired, growing. And yeah, his work is amazing, awesome, and we love sharing and bolstering our community. It's funny because I can see this on like on like a barbershop window. I don't know where like why that's where I'm putting it, but like I totally just see it with like the painted on a window kind of vibe.
That's almost always the vibe I'm going for, so that feels good to hear that.
Yes. And when we talk about vibes, right, we talk about this on the show a lot because it is a part of a lot of people's creative process that they hit a zone where like, oh man, I'm just trying to like find this vibe or whatever. How have you learned and like figured out what those vibes are and how you can achieve them in your work?
I think it just comes from like leaning into your personal work and seeing what type of styles you gravitate towards. And I don't know, I think it's definitely taken me several years, and I'm sure I'm not even close to being there yet. But understanding what I like and what I'm good at.
Yep.
And I think it's definitely one of those things that takes time, but it's worth it when you get able to find it.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that so much of it is exploring personal work. For you, what's the balance between personal work and like client work? Because I know that's one of the top questions we always get is people saying like, how much personal work should I do? And like, how do I leverage personal work for professional work? What's that balance look like for you?
Right now, it's definitely starting to, I don't know, even out, I guess. I feel like my personal work and my client work were so different for so long. And I think that I'm finding as I go on that when the styles line up a little bit more, I have a little bit more fun and I'm able to produce better work. So I don't know. I think it's still obviously important to have your personal work on the side, but whenever you can kind of get those things on the same plane, I think everything works a little bit better.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely. And I agree there. I kind of had a similar journey that you're figuring out how do I get hired for the stuff that I do for myself for other people? Like, when does
Right.
that hit? And then once it hits, it becomes kind of this magical moment of like, okay, cool. Like, it's almost that, I wouldn't say like end of imposter syndrome, but like a step against it that you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like all this imposter syndrome somehow has a validation now. It's like, okay, cool. I like what I'm doing is relevant and interesting.
Yep.
And yes, Sam, a lot of people in chat are resonating with the idea of the work of professional versus personal projects. I agree. I think personal projects are always the most interesting. They're kind of the experiment of style, and then professionals kind of can become pieces of those, sometimes the whole of those, but it's nice to have and kind of build up your creative library so that you can use it on other stuff. Ooh, I love the vibes. There are moments, and you can't hear it, but there is music coming through and pumping out, and there are just these moments when like it gets quiet for a second, and like there's just like the drawing and just some smooth jazz in the background, and it's just a whole vibe.
Love a little smooth jazz in the background.
Oh, like I want to do a stream that's just smooth jazz, and I do like the radio voice where it's just like, "Hey everyone, welcome back to Design in the Dark." Like,
there it is.
That's what I want one of these shows to be, and just like
can I require that you talk in that voice for the rest of the stream?
It would be much more comfortable. I have a cold, and like speaking low is so much easier on my throat, but I just never do. My voice is so naturally high, but then when it drops down, which whenever I get sick and have my super low voice, I immediately, like when I'm taking showers and stuff, will start singing that like Mr. Grinch song just because it's the most perfect, like, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. And it just makes me, I just giggle and laugh every single time.
That's a good one.
So we're building this out, and I'm noticing, right, you're doing lettering, but you're also adding in this little shape. What's the purpose of adding in the shape? Why is that there?
Wait, which shape are you talking about?
The little explosion there.
The what?
The little like star, the star.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this, I mean, I feel like that's kind of a like a motif that you see on like New or Best or things like that, and so it feels like the time to use it here.
I agree. Yeah. So we've talked about this before on the stream. So those are things that are called indexes, and we see a lot of people use them, that it is giving information, right? When we're talking about vibes, this is something that like gives vibes, right? It has motion, it's sharp, it's exploding, it's moving toward you. It's kind of the biggest information. When we look at it, we know to look there. We know that is like another level of excitement. And so again, like you just said, it is a great thing to balance out, to add some excitement, to add a little more visual interest there.
Yep.
And yes, Derlin, this would look really good for a retro 50s styles ad. Agreed. That is a zone. Amy Hood wants to hear "All by Myself," some Celine Dion. I have been like belting out "I Drove All Night." Like for some reason, it's been stuck in my head for like 2 weeks. And for those that are just joining us, let's go ahead and recap the brief. We are working on a lettering piece for a magazine called New Groove. The article is the best new back scratcher, and it's an article all about fake nails. Some good old fake nails. I've never done it, but I feel like I could. I feel like if I had fake nails, I would just want to type. Like that's the only thing I would want to do is get a super like clickety clackety keyboard and just type all day and just sounds so important.
I feel like you would love that for about 5 minutes, and then you would be ready to chop them right off.
That's so true. Like those, and then the like heels, but like the heels that have like the wooden sole or whatever, so they just sound like they're like clacking as people run. Those just feel powerful to me. Like I want those vibes in my life.
I feel like you can have that right at your fingertips.
You know, I don't know about the 6'4", 230 in heels. I'd need to get some special order steel enforced.
It's 2020. Anything you can have, anything you want.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like what 6'10" me in 6-inch heels. That's a move. Like that is a power move. Just rolling up to dinner and just rocking 6'10". So chat, let's go ahead and drop a couple more things from you, get some other suggestions from you in here just to keep in mind. After the fact, Cymone, are you okay adding some color to this once we get there?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's get some colors from you, chat. The articles and illustrations are instantly recognizable because of their signature colors, blank and blank. What are 2 colors for us to put in here? And yes, Nikki, Prince did it. I agree. If Prince can do it, we all can do it. All right, so go ahead and 2 colors, chat. Drop them in there. Any 2 colors, preferably a combination. If you say red and green, I will throw it out and not accept it because that is unacceptable. unless this is Christmas. Like if this is the new gift guide, instead of a back scratcher, you just get your relatives' fake nails.
I think that's what I'm doing for my family this year.
Yes. Okay, so we got purple and orange, purple and pink, teal and gold, salmon and sea foam. Kyle, wow. And Cedric, let's go ahead with Cedric's. And is this a Cedric that is related to you, Cedric Wilder?
Yeah, it must be.
What's up? So Cedric says pink and green. Pink and green is what we're going to go with.
Wow, love it.
Pink and green. I love pink and green. Pink and green, especially like a good, like muted, like pink, like a mint and like a salmon.
All right.
I love describing things, and I think that a lot of creatives do this. They'll describe things like with other things, so like a visual sense as like a taste. It's like, oh, instead of being yellow, it's like, ooh, something like sweet and bright. I just think that is like the most interesting way to get creative and describe things. Yes, and those are good color suggestions. Somebody make a color palette and just update these for all of us. Just the Design in the Dark color palette package. Coming to you this fall in our store. Speaking of, Cymone, this may not be a thing, but it may be a thing. You do have a shop, right? You do, okay.
I have a shop?
Yes.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So if you guys want to go check it out, there is a shop on the website simonandmoose.com. There's some awesome buttons here, some stickers, lots of goodies, fun stuff to stick all over the place or pin all over the place. Either of those adjectives, I guess they're verbs, you can do stick or pin. Check that out. Okay, this is interesting. And I love just watching people work like this, because you had very like basic letters on that word back, and now it's turned into like this little, it's got the rounded edges, it's feeling like this kind of like wood block, kind of like fun carnival-iness. Is that something that as you like start to trace over those, you're like, oh, what if it had more character here? Or when you were sketching, was that how it was going to look always?
Well, it'll probably end up looking a little bit different than that. I think I like, because the brief is bright and sharp, I'm going to come back and kind of clean up those edges so it'll feel a little less
Cool.
wood blocky, I guess.
And that's, and we talk about this too. Have you ever used like the tracing paper, where like you just do layers of like sketches on tracing paper?
Yep.
I feel like whenever I see people work in fresco, that happens, and that's like the workflow, but just in either layers or just drawing on top. That it's like, cool, we don't need like all these different things, that it is a little bit better with each iteration, right? That we have ret sketch, then these letters are starting to look a little bit better, then we'll go back and do another round, and it just gets better and better and better until suddenly it's done.
Yeah.
Which is always fun when clients ask the process. I'm like, so like, when will we have this? Like, what's your process? And you're like, eventually it will be done. And the process is that it will get done. That's all I can give
That's all
here.
you need to know.
That's it. I do want to bring up one project that I saw you post about recently. You got to do some stuff with SNL, I believe, right? Or
Yeah,
with Megan Thee Stallion, right?
yeah. I was like brought on as a part of a team that created basically all the lettering for her set design on one of her songs. It was like super quick and rough and tumble, but it was a lot of fun.
That's wild. What was the experience like watching and be like, hey, there's my thing, like it's just there?
Well, we didn't really get to see like the final product before it went live, and it was me and 3 other letterers, and so it was like watching it and hoping that they didn't like kill my specific work. And so I'm like, where are my letters? Where are my letters?
Yep. That's funny. That's wild for something like that. And I'm sure it happens in that industry a lot. That it's just a full on, hey, get us a million things and then we'll like see what happens and we won't tell you about it and good luck.
Yeah.
Yes, Amy Hood says, dream client, put that SNL logo on the logo carousel. That's right.
Yeah, I think...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like I had so little in the project, but I'm excited to put that in my book and brag all the way through it.
Absolutely. That's such a like great advice for people, that it's like, hey, if you do like a memo or like an email header for some brand, like boom, slap that logo on there. Like you gotta have it. You also got to do stuff for, I believe you did a live stream with a Biden campaign a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was I would say very similar to this. It was basically like playing telephone with other designers, and so we all like took turns drawing on each other's art, and it was so much fun.
That's so fun.
And of course for a great cause that I'm passionate about.
Oh yeah. Adobe used to do something called layer tennis, and it was basically that, to where like you would get files from other people and like build on them, and it was just, I thought, the greatest, funnest concept to see how people would like remix and reinterpret things.
Yeah.
So we've completely turned off the sketch from now, and is that because we have like, this is version 2 and now we're ready to like build on top of version 3 to version 3 and the sketch is irrelevant now?
Yeah, I think I kind of just have the idea, and at this point I'm going to just start kind of building up the letters and going back and erasing and all that stuff at this point. So
yep. And we've got about 15ish minutes left, so we definitely have time to refine, start incorporating some color, getting all that stuff in.
Yeah.
And yes, Amy Hood says, the first time I worked with Disney, it was doing gallery cards for an art show in China and just typesetting, but I threw that Disney logo up there real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Love that.
And a question from Sam Peterson: do you always freehand all of your lettering designs?
For the most part, I try to whenever possible, but kind of just depends on what the project calls for, I guess.
Yep. In chat, we're gonna go ahead. That was the weirdest way to say "we're." Oh my goodness, my brain got stuck in the middle of the word. We're gonna go ahead and finish up our brief. There are a couple more suggestions that I need from you. They aren't really gonna affect Cymone a lot, but we need them to fill in for the rest of the brief so that we can have something that's complete. And here are the 3 things I need from you. So, The New Groove is an independent publication that is the leading voice in the topic space. What space is it a leading voice in, this little independent publication? And then we need to know, what issue number are we on? What issue number is all about fake nails? And at the end, what kind of vibe does the magazine have? What is an adjective that describes the articles and illustrations that we usually see in there? So drop those 3 in there: a topic, a number, and an adjective, and I'll plug those in, and that will help us at the end once we need to go back and kind of read our brief all the way through. Gosh, it's crazy how clean and how much more character it gets. That you kind of get the idea of the vibe, and then you start to get the vibe, and then you actually get the vibe.
I love the levels of vibe.
Yes,
we're gonna get through it.
That's true. The vibe evolution. All right, so we are going. They are a leading voice in the fashion industry. Okay. They are on issue number 46. Thank you, Howard. Also, hi, Howard. Thanks for being here. For their 46th issue. And they are, again, from our friend Cedric. They are irreverent. They have irreverent articles. Love that. All right, so we have the completed brief. We will revisit that at the end. Thank you so much, chat, for participating today. I believe tomorrow we'll probably do a new brief. We may build on this one some more. We'll let you pick, chat. At the end of this, we'll let you pick if maybe we want to do maybe a title treatment for the magazine, or if we want to do something completely new tomorrow. Let me know at the end of the show. We'll figure that out. So watching process, this is interesting because this is the first time that you've zoomed into anything. Is that because you've moved to a point where you're like, cool, the forms are where I want them, now it's about the details?
Yeah, I maybe chose not the best brush to start with, and so I think there's going to be a lot of refining here, but that's where I'm at this point.
Yes, I feel like a lot of design is just figuring out how to fix your mistakes. It's making the mistakes, and then it's like, what is design? You're like, just fixing the mistakes that I've made in the process of making mistakes.
Yeah, definitely.
Darylyn says, do you ever use screen tones? I don't know the term screen tones.
No, I don't know if I do either.
All right, here I go, chat. This is my one job on this show, is to secretly look in the background for terms that I don't know and then present them to you as if I do. Okay, cool. So screen tones, for those of you in chat that don't know, it's a technique for applying textures and shades to drawings, used as an alternative to hatching. In the conventional process, patterns are transferred to paper from reprinted sheets, but the technique is also simulated with computer graphics sometimes. So I'm reading this off Wikipedia. So I think maybe what it could be referenced is with halftones. Maybe is probably a similar idea. Do you ever incorporate halftones in your work, or do you have to if you're doing print pieces or screen printing stuff?
Not. I wouldn't say, maybe not in that vein of that definition, but I would add stuff like that in other ways, I guess.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Oh, something else I wanted to ask you about is, on your website, you have a lot of great case studies. And I have a show on Friday where we talk about case studies, how to present your work. And something that I thought was interesting is you have a lot of great case studies of projects you've worked on, but you also have a page that's just lettering, and it's all just black and white. Here's the piece, like no description, no anything. It's just like, here's the stuff. What's the like idea behind that, and why you just have a page that's just like, look at this stuff?
I think it felt important to have the case studies just because I'm able to share with people how I work and like how I got to the decisions I got to. But I also am like, I just make cool lettering and sometimes there's not a good description for it.
Yep.
And also, I'm not excellent at color. So that's why it's mainly in black and white. Just, it was easier.
Yep. I feel like I resonated with that when I saw your work, because I'm the same way that I'm like, black and white, like it is like the signature, like, ooh, it's so gritty and whatever. You're like, really? I'm not good with color, so I'm just
not great.
Yes. Selena, can this be used without a tablet pen when using a tablet? You could draw with your fingers.
Yeah, I think you can.
That'll
you lose
tough.
Some of the like pressure sensitivity that you get out of the pencil.
Yep.
But I don't think you need that.
Yeah. And Amy says, are you still full-time at Smile Direct?
I am full-time at Smile Direct for a little bit longer, and then I'm moving on to another pen pretty soon here.
Oh my goodness. So she's asking, how do you find time to work 9 to 5 and also make epic work and do freelance and dream clients? What's your balance from like having like in-house versus freelance?
It's definitely tricky. I think it's just like you do your 9 to 5 and then you get done and you work a little bit more.
Yep.
And it helps having, I guess, clients who are great to work with. I definitely am super lucky to have some really great clients and who are understanding that that's my situation. And I try to make that clear too. That's why it's on my site, because I need people to understand that I am just one person and I have another job.
Yes. I'm glad that you don't take the Twitter bio of like, we're a multi-award-winning design agency, when it's like, no, it's just me. It's just me. Please don't put that on me.
From time to time, I let my little brother help me, but ultimately, yeah, it's just me.
Yep. Do you find that you enjoy that, having the creative control in the process and kind of focusing your vision, or do you wish that you like had other collaborators?
I think something I've started working recently with an agent, which has been really great because that just gives me more time to focus like solely on the art.
Yep.
And worry a little bit less about some of the other things. But I do like kind of being the only designer, I guess, just because I get to have more control, like you said, basically.
Yep. And Sam Peterson asks, do you ever use the vector brushes in Fresco for these kind of designs? Or would you take this into Illustrator if you're going to do it? Or do you not do that because you like to like print it and wrinkle it and scan it and all that? What's your kind of process?
Yeah, I usually will vector in Illustrator if I need to, but for the most part, I really enjoy like keeping everything, not everything, obviously. I do this on the iPad, but I like to do some analog things. So I'll take a picture of my work like through tracing paper or plastic or something to give it kind of a more natural texture.
Yep.
I just really like that tangible vibe.
Yeah, which is just like a whole nother world. And I'm going to flip over to one of your lettering pieces that says think. And as you guys can see, like this would be cool lettering, right? If we looked at it, we're like, okay, cool, it's lettering. But then having like these little ink splotches, having it out of focus, having like the texture on here, it just, like we said, adds a whole new vibe. That it's not just about the lettering, it's about like the whole experience of the piece. And I love that you're so in tune with that, and that's like a huge priority to you, to not just have it be like, oh, it's just lettering. That's like, no, this is something I want you to like feel and engage with.
Yeah. One of my clients once said, I guess this was kind of part of their brief, was we want this to feel like we just found this in a, you know, a scrap yard or something. And I thought that was
Oh, I
really,
love that.
really interesting to like approach the work that way, in a way that makes it feel like it's always existed and we just kind of went out and found it and retooled it for this thing. So I feel like that's kind of what I like to do with my work, is make it feel like it's something that exists out in the world and we kind of just made it a little more unique and specific to a certain project.
Absolutely. There's a photographer named Aaron Siskind. He's one of my favorites, and his whole idea of the work that he would capture was he would capture the world, but as it was affected by humans. So he would never like take pictures of people. He would always take pictures of like chipped paint on the side of the buildings, or like work gloves that had been destroyed and left on a table. And it was all about him like creating portraiture, but through how people have affected the world. And I love that. And it's kind of translating into your lettering, that it is that like, I want to have a story that's behind it, and I want to find the piece, but I want to like know that there's something else in there.
Yeah.
This is a vibe and a half. It's definitely going somewhere, which is fun. I also like that it has a lot of motion. Do you pay attention to that motion? And I think you did it like right at the beginning of where you want the energy kind of flowing in this as you read. You laid down like lines basically at the beginning, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think I try to let it kind of just go with the flow and not pay too much attention to that. Just because I feel like it can go in so many directions based on just what is looking the way it looks. But I think I usually have an okay idea of what I'm going for in general when I'm laying out the lines, but I think letting it happen for itself is important.
Yep. It starts to, I mean, it's almost like you hear authors talk about writing characters, that like the characters start to speak to them, that it's probably the same way here. That's like, oh, I feel like this letter wants to go this way and like wants to have this, and it needs to fit in that space, and you kind of just are listening to where it wants to go.
Yeah, definitely.
And Chell, his name is Aaron Siskind. Aaron Siskind was the photographer I mentioned. He also would print all of his work on silver nitrate, and so it had like a really cool sheen to it. But yes, his name was Aaron Siskind. And Cymone, we've got about, I don't know, 5-ish minutes left. How does time work? Hold on. 23. Yes. So we have about 5 minutes left.
Sweet. I'll start moving to like color and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and chat with this. Let's do this now. Tomorrow for our next piece, do we want to continue on this piece and continue buttoning this up? Do we want to move on to a completely different brief? Or do we want to do a kind of companion piece to this? Maybe we do the title of the magazine, or something else that is happening. Maybe we do the cover of the magazine. What do we want to do tomorrow? You get to pick, chats, which is the greatest thing about this show, that I like kind of have to plan, but I get to put a lot of it off on you. It's like a group project, and I get to be the guy that's like, yeah, whatever you guys want to do. All right, so Nikki says, I hope we can get some color. That maybe can be something that we incorporate tomorrow, because it does feel like it's going to get pretty crazy to try to put in today. So maybe let's do this, chat. Let's see. Okay, cool. Companion piece, companion piece, companion piece. Cool. So people are looking like we want to stay on the same brief. As long as chat is good with that, then let's do this. Let's continue this piece tomorrow, add in some color to it, and then maybe we can incorporate those colors as well and do maybe a cover treatment for the title of the magazine, which is going to be really fun, because chat, I believe that you all decided on the magazine being called The New Groove. So I think that we'll have some fun with that one as well. The best back scratchers. It definitely feels like something that has been like brushed and faded on a brick wall.
Nice. Yeah, I was kind of wondering if there's if there's something to make it look like it was scratched in, since it's our new back scratcher.
Oh yeah. And it looks like now you're starting to move from just using the basic brush into some of those like textured kind of rougher brushes. What brushes are you using? And then is this a part of the process where you're like, cool, the core's down, let's start messing with it?
Right now I'm using the gritty brush in the lettering panel. Before I was kind of using usually just like a basic brush to get things blocked in. And then I guess from there, it will depend on the style. And in this case, I'm going for this scratchier look, and it's kind of nice that it is covering up some of the earlier mistakes that I made.
That I use texture 100% of the time to hide mistakes. It's like, oh, it looks so like crinkly and cool with the texture on there. You're like, yeah, it's really bad under all that though. Like there's some major issues, but it looks really good with this texture on there. Nice. Well, I'm going to go ahead and read the entire brief back through, just chat so you can hear a little bit about what we did today, and then make sure that you come back tomorrow for our next episode. Same time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do end the day here on Adobe Live, so there's no one after us, but make sure you tune back in tomorrow morning. There's great content from 9, I believe, in the morning all the way until 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. So we'll be on 2:30 to 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. I believe our friend Meg Lewis is on tomorrow as well. Cymone, you know Meg, right?
I have never met her in person, but I feel we're becoming close friends. Yes. Via the socials.
Yes, I do feel like Meg is one of the people that you vibe her vibe before you actually like know her. So yes, if you guys haven't vibed, 9:30 she is on tomorrow with Paul Traney, so tune in for that. But here is the brief that we have created today on Design in the Dark. The New Groove is an independent publication that is a leading voice in the fashion space. For their 46th issue, we are running a story about fake nails with the headline, "The Best New Back Scratchers." They are in need of a lettering piece that should be sharp and bright in style. New Groove has irreverent articles and illustrations that are instantly recognizable because of their signature colors, pink and green. So we got through a lot of that today, and chat, you were very helpful in filling in all of those different things for the Mad Lib. And so tomorrow we will continue on, we will add color, and we will continue kind of buttoning this up, kind of making it a little bit probably more textured, I'm guessing, Cymone?
I might scale back on the texture tomorrow. Okay. We'll see.
All right. And then if you guys want to follow along, we got a couple of minutes here that I want to show. Cymone and Moose is where you can get connected. You can check out Cymone's website, some more of her work, as well as go over here to the shop and grab some of them goodies. We've got prints, stickers, buttons, all kinds of fun stuff. And then follow along at Cymone and Moose on the Instagrams, as well as here on the Behance. I think I need to adopt just the Facebook for all the things that we talk about. The Behance, the Instagram, the Adobe Live. And we've got a couple minutes here to kind of button things up. And I love, especially zoomed in here, it feels like it's been scanned and photocopied like it was in an old magazine. I love getting in and seeing that detail and just being like, oh man, it like feels so good that at a smaller size, you're kind of like, okay, cool, it's a rough edge. But then having those details matter so much to have just the little bit of extra kind of oomph to really sell it. I love that.
Yeah.
Going into tomorrow, knowing we're going to get into color, we're going to do a kind of companion piece. Where's your brain at thinking about tomorrow? Or are like you not even considering at all another workflow yet?
I know. Not really considering it yet, just because I'm trying to figure out where to take this. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
That's the way to do it. Is we just vibe and roll along and see where we go. We could spend most of the stream tomorrow buttoning this up and not getting to anything else. That's how it goes here in Design in the Dark. We vibe and we just see where it goes. We turn on some smooth jazz and give you radio voice, and that's how it works.
Always the smooth jazz. We love it.
That's it. Oh yeah, what's your music? What's been your music zone lately? I see you have a
Um,
turntable behind you.
well, right now I've got a little Curtis Mayfield doing the retro thing, but
Yes.
oop, um, I don't know. I'm usually a pretty big jazz head, so
Yes.
anything in that vein.
Oh, we should have talked about this earlier. I've been back on a Vince Guaraldi trio kick.
Ooh,
Just
it's
like,
the time of the year.
oh yeah, just put on shuffle all the albums and just vibe. I found an old special, like a video special on YouTube of some like talk show that he did, and it was so good. He was like talking about his, style and how he incorporates jazz and the free. It was so good.
Yep, can't go
All
wrong.
right, that is all the time that we have for today. We're gonna have to button up a little bit. Cymone, can we zoom out so we can see kind of the full piece where we've landed today? So from sketch to semi-final, we're gonna keep
You,
incorporating some color in tomorrow. I know, right? Like, yeah.
yeah.
We'll keep incorporating some color tomorrow, and then keep on this. So make sure you tune back in tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. for another episode of Design in the Dark. And until then, Cymone, do you have any wise wisdom for our chat? Any suggestions or advice to take them through the next day?
Um, nothing special. I guess just make the best of what you got at your fingertips. You don't necessarily need an amazing juiced up iPad, but it doesn't hurt. It is a little helpful. We'll do.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, do with what you got, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.